Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another PGR reaction. Today we have Melinoë's theme. This one was requested by Reiko in the comments of last video, which was actually delayed by a week because of other things going on. So it's been like 2 weeks, but either way, we're here now. I'm going to be listening to this theme, and without further ado, let's go! That's intense. Ooh. Sorry, that was a beautiful chord there. And the organ like fighting against it, or that might be horns too. Very dissonant horn section, if so. I think there's an organ in there. Obviously the horns are there too, but it's kind of hard to tell. No, there's definitely an organ in there. Okay. That dissonance really like shoves them all into a very tight group, so it can be hard to tell. Oh, went up on that one. I thought they were going to be going back down. This, love that chord. This is so intense. Holding on to that tension for an extra measure there. Yeah, this is a boss theme. Just the intensity is unmatched. That low drone from what's probably like the tuba and the other like low brass. It's just so thick too. It's subtle, but God, it does so much work. As a lot of you know, I do play PGR from time to time now. I gave it a chance on my channel about a month ago, and I thought it was really fun. And I've also experienced how it can be super easy to get like into the fights and pay attention to it, as well as just not being in them for too long a lot of the time, where you miss out on themes like this. I wonder how many people haven't heard this theme and actually like heard it, because there's so much to love in this theme. It might be a little bit standard, like I wouldn't say stereotypical. It definitely does some original stuff in here, but it does stick to a standard generalized idea of what this sort of like epic sort of theme can be, and that works perfectly well. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of what this song is doing. It definitely leans into a lot of that intensity, which obviously if it's a boss theme, that's what it would be doing, but also it's just playing around with that, like the tension in there, so much of it. Like, I couldn't tell for a while if it was an organ or just the brass section, and that comes from the organ having these clashing tones kind of in its design. It resonates weird. Organs are very crunchy when they're like played alone, but when you put them in with especially an entire brass section, it starts to blend in so perfectly that you really can't tell, with all of these notes and harmonies in here clashing and crunching up against each other. This was such a tight song harmonically, and not tight in the sort of like, oh wow, you had a beautiful harmony there, what a full amazing sound. This was kind of the opposite side of that coin, where it wanted to make sure that you felt all of that tension, that discomfort, every bit of anger, confusion, and disdain in this song. That's what they wanted you to feel. And they did that by making the entire harmonic structure in this song very conflicted. There wasn't much going on in here that landed too proudly, except for that one chord that I love. I do not know the name of it, but it's pretty common in a lot of orchestrated music, especially stuff that's supposed to sound this like big, high-flying sort of energy, this proud, high-octane sort of sound that makes you feel like you're part of something greater. I don't know what it is. I could probably pluck around and find out. Actually, you know what? I'm going to. Give me a second. All right, so I'm back. I apologize for me having to do this, like, looking and paying attention, because, like I said, I didn't know what it was, and it took me a little bit to figure it out. But what I think happens here is that it goes from a D minor to a B flat to an A, and I think there's also a transitional in there that's like a D minor slash A, which basically is just a portmanteau of both of those chords together. You'll see what I mean here, though. So I believe it starts out with this D minor, which is that, just those three, and then this is the chord that I like, which just sounds great. And then I think when it moves down, it goes to like, which is that D minor slash A, where it's like, you get the A there, but then the D and the F, whereas the actual A that follows is that. And basically just move your other two fingers from the, the D and the F down to C sharp and E to make that actual A chord. So it's just kind of that relationship, I believe, is what really sells me, is, whoops. See, like I'm messing up a little bit because I'm very new to figuring that sort of stuff out by ear, and it's just odd, but also, it's so delicious, and that relationship, it just answers itself, especially with that little adjustment in there on the, it's just, ooh, that's such a good call and response moment in there where it's just like, question? Maybe. Answer. You know, it's just how the musical language works, and you expand that to a whole orchestra, a whole brass section, strings, an organ, and it's just like, God, that it packs a punch, because you could add so many more notes to it. I mean, like, you have this, which is that B flat, like I said, but at the same time, if you were to extend this up to like the 7th or even 7 and 9, it's a completely different feel. You could even like move one of those like on the 7 up. You can move it up to like that. Just kind of keeping the whole octave together. So it's like there's ways to phrase these different chords that are so fun and flexible. And you could do that with basically any song, but it's just how it's handled. And I think that relationship of going from here to here and then, it's just a great way to set up this pride only for you to question that pride. And I wonder if that's a little bit of what the song is trying to convey, because that's usually why people write stuff like that into compositions. They want to be able to have those moments where the song itself is reflecting the emotional character that you're trying to make a song about. And it's just like, hey, maybe I should make this song ask the same questions that the character themselves would be in this moment, or at very least, maybe you would be asking about them. So if you are questioning their pride or trying to get them to question theirs, I could totally see that being a factor here, or just in general, asking a question. You know, if you want to make it more broad, that could be what it is, because there is that relationship of that question in there. And it's like, Are you gonna answer that question? Well, that's what that A is for, when it actually like resolves to that. And when you add that intensity behind it, it makes the song feel that much more important. It adds more weight to it. The conversation is no longer just between you and them. It's a much bigger picture. The intensity is supposed to reflect how large and important this specific moment is. So when the song is soft and breathy, it's a little bit, you know, floaty, and it's a little bit thin maybe. There's just a few instruments involved. That is a more intimate relationship with the music and the characters. And in contrast, you have a song like this that feels so large, like larger than life. This is like a world-changing decision. Something is wrong to the point of literally making or breaking reality or life as we know it. And I know that PGR definitely reaches into that pool of importance quite often, so I would not be shocked if that's what's going on here. But boy, can you feel it with how this song is phrased, and again, the phrasing in those chords specifically, it just feels so good. And you can't help but love, or at least I can't help but love, when composers put in that much effort to be able to get these characters real emotions across and make sure that you feel that and understand that relationship just as deeply as you would have reading the story, sure, but also experiencing it in person like the characters in universe are. That's the most important thing for music, and they do it all the time here in PGR. But this is probably the most impressive standalone boss theme I've heard from PGR in a while, just because of that scale. The decision to go full orchestral, the decision to do something different than their usual, kind of, they stick more in like the electronic fare, which is, like I said earlier, a little bit more intimate. It can be large and you can add electronic elements into something larger, but we always perceive the orchestra as this huge bombastic energy that you really can't quite get through just EDM alone. So having some elements of it in there can do a lot, but also just straight up forcing it down your throat like this song is, just making sure that you are fully immersed in this emotional decision is really what sells this one for me. The choice to make it a little bit different from their usual stuff and really make sure that you understand the importance of that moment. But I think I've yapped enough about this one, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you have another song from PGR you want me to get to, by all means, drop in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!